Shalom. Shalom, Mr. Al with the GMS Germany camp. And first and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Aka. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and blessings to the hopefully elect 144,000 men pushing the truth in diligence and sincerity across the four winds. And shalom to any Akwathim out there listening and learning. So, like I said before, when I was walking up here, you know, that the Lord has blessed me with the ability to be able to come out here and be at peace and study the Word, you know. Not all the time, but what I see is the more I pray and the more I fast, you know, and the more I ask for time to do the work, He's given it to me. And it may not be how people think it should be, where He may take me out of a job, He may take your family away from you, He may take things away from you, you know, that you thought meant something to you. But this world is nothing, man. This world means nothing. This world is vanity. This kingdom is Esau's. Okay, this is Esau's kingdom. You know, but our kingdom is coming. You know, our rest is coming. But right now, the Lord has woken us up to do the work. To do His work in righteousness and sincerity, with diligence. You know, to rebuke, to exhort, you know, to sharpen one another. Other men in this truth. Other men that walk in this path that the Lord has put us on. You know? So let's get into it, this lesson, because this lesson, I hope to prove that the Lord has only been dealing with Israel. Okay? He's only dealing with Israel. He only loves Israel. And he has an indignation. You know, He has a destruction prepared for all these heathen nations. He has a desolation prepared for all these heathen nations. As a matter of fact, let's look up that word, destruction. Desolation. Desolate. Let's look up desolate. Forsake. 1, having no inhabitants, abandoned, in a condition of neglect or ruin, miserable, gloomy, forlorn, to lay waste, to deprive of inhabitants, to crush with sorrow, to forsake. Okay, then desolation, the act of laying waste, the state of being laid waste or abandoned. Solitude, ruin, destruction. Okay, let's look at the word destruction. All right, because you have to look up the meanings of words. Okay, to gain understanding of what the Lord is saying. You know, especially when you come new into this truth, you should be looking up every word that if you have to second guess a word, you should look it up. If a word is big and you don't understand it, don't look over it. Look it up. And I suggest that you find the oldest dictionary that you can find. You know, because Esau, he has a thing called newspeak. He's hidden the meaning of words so he can continue to push his lies in this society. He can continue to push his oppression in this society. All right? Destroy. To pull down, overturn, lay waste, render desolate, to kill, put an end to render void, neutralize. Okay, let's look up destruction. The act of destroying, overthrow, ruin. Verse number 2. The state of being ruined or devastated, an agency of ruin. Okay, so the Lord, in Salakia, this is the simplified dictionary encyclopedic edition. I got it off YouTube. Salakia, off eBay. I think I got it for $35, $35, and it was written in 1920s. Okay, but you got to look up the meaning of words. All right, to gain full understanding of the scriptures. Okay, so back to what I was saying. There's a destruction. There's a desolation prepared for these heathen nations. Just like how He prepared destruction and desolation for the 12 tribes of Israel, how we are desolate right now, how we don't know who we are, how the name of us has been taken out of the earth, the same thing is going to happen to these heathen nations. So I'm going to do, hopefully, Yahweh Ratazah, I'll do a series of videos on every nation, because the Bible talks about 18 nations, okay? 18 nations of people. And those 18 nations of people are still here on this earth today. All right? So without further ado, let's get into it. This is Psalms 149. Salakia. Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of the saints. The saints are the 144,000 men of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with a timbrel and a harp. Verse 4, for the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Salvation is only for the meek, the ones who have been destroyed on this earth, who have no power in this earth. Okay? Verse 5, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Verse 6, let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand. Verse 7, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people. Verse 8, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with feathers of iron. And that's what happened to Israel. So we're going to do that to their heathen, to these heathen nations. You know, and people may say, oh, that's hate speech. That's not hate speech. This is the word of the Lord. This is coming from the Holy Bible. Okay? This is coming from the mouth of the Lord saying these things. There's no hate speech about it. This is revenge. This is karma. You know, this is justice. To verse 8, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Verse 9, to execute upon them the judgment written. So there's a judgment written for these heathen nations that must come to pass. But it's going to come to pass at the hands of the Israelites. And the Lord is going to do that with his elect men. Verse 9, let me read it again. To execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Arakakadash. Okay? So the honor of giving revenge and punishments unto these heathen nations belongs to the saints of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Alright? So let's continue. This is Psalms 147 and 18. He sendeth out his word and melted them. He causeth his he causes his wind to blow and the waters to flow. Verse 19, he sheweth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He showeth his word unto Jacob, Israel. Jacob had his name changed to Israel, Yasharallah, the prince of power. Okay? He hath not, verse 20, he hath not dealt so with any nation. And as far as his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So he's only given this word and his statutes, the laws, the rules to live on this earth unto Israel. Okay? So he's only been dealing with Israel the whole time. This whole story is about the Israelites. This whole thing that we're going through, this whole big scene that we are taking part of, this big movie, is only about the Israelites. Okay? So let's get into it. The first nation of people that I'm going to get into are the Moabites. All right? The Moabites are the so-called Chinese. The real nationality, the real name of their nationality are Moab. All right? Moab. Okay? Let's go to Psalms chapter 60 and verse 8. Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia triumph because of me. So the Philistines are only in that land because of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. But the message that I wanted to bring out is Moab is my washpot. What do you do with a washpot? Let's look up washpot. Let's look up the word washpot. It's not in here, But Yahweh Ratazah, I'll put up the definition of a wash pot when I edit the video. But a wash pot is something you clean things in. You know, it's nothing special. You know, you throw it to the wayside. You throw it, you treat it like it's nothing. Okay? So the Moabites are the Lord's wash pot. All right? Let's go to Psalms 83 and verse 6. Let's start at 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh the Most High. Verse 2. For thine enemies make a tumult. They that hate thee have lifted up their head. Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharallah, Israel, may be no more in remembrance. And that's what's happened. That's what's happened. And let's see who's done these things. For they have, verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. And confederacy, that means they're working all together. They are all joined hand to hand in one mission, in one goal. Verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarenes. You see? Of Moab and the Hagarenes. So these people, they are in confederacy against certain people on the earth today. All right? They're in confederacy against the Israelites. Okay? This is Psalms 108 and verse 9. Again it says, Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Over Philistia will I triumph. You see, over Philistia will he triumph. So the Philistines, the Edomites, and the Moabites. This precept brings out an indignation or a disregard to these nations of people. Okay. From there, let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 11 and verse 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And this is talking about what the Israelites are going to do to these nations. Let's read it again. They shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom, the Edomites, and Moab, the Moabites, the so-called Chinese, and the children of Ammon, the Japanese. And the children of Ammon shall obey them. Verse 15. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian. The Egyptian sea with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod. So the 15 I didn't want to bring out, but the Spirit just told me to read it. But what I'm trying to say is that there's an indignation, there's a judgment set for the Edomites, for the Moabites. The key of this lesson that I'm talking about are the Moabites right now. There's an indignation against them. There's something set for them to receive, because the Lord has not given them their judgment yet. Okay? Let's do Isaiah 15 and 1. The burden of Moab, because in the night Ar of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence, because in the night Kir of Moab is laid waste and brought to silence. So they're going to be brought to silence. They're going to be brought down low. They're going to feel the same things that the Israelites felt. They're going to witness the destruction of their people. They're going to witness the destruction, utter destruction of their nation. Okay? Let's go to chapter 16 verse 6 on down to 7. This is Isaiah chapter 16 and verse 6. We have heard the pride of Moab. He is very proud, even of his haughtiness, and his pride and his wrath, but his lies shall not be so. You see? Verse 7. Therefore shall Moab howl for Moab. Every one shall howl. For the foundations of Kir Hareseth shall ye mourn. Surely they are stricken. Okay? So they're going to mourn. They got a judgment that is coming that is set up for them, and they have no idea. You know, the heads of these people know what's coming. Okay? But ultimately, the Lord is hardening their hearts to not believe it, to not think that these things are going to come to pass. All right? From there, let's go to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah 48. Now, Jeremiah has a lot of precepts on the downfall of Edom. And Yaharatazah, this is edifying, man. This is Jeremiah 48 and 2. There shall be no more praise of Moab in Heshbon. They have devised evil against it. Come, and let us cut it off from being a nation. Also thou shalt be cut down, O madman, the sword shall pursue thee. All right? Verse 4. Let's skip down to 4. Moab is destroyed. Her little ones have caused a cry to be heard. All right? So Moab is destroyed. And it's going to be destroyed at the hands of the Israelites, of the elect. After the nuclear fire takes hold of all these people on these nations, on the earth, the Lord is going to use his men to come and handle it, coming to handle the remnant of their people, of these nations of people. Okay? Let's go to verse 11. Moab hath been at ease from his youth, and he hath settled on his lees, and hath not been emptied from vessel to vessel. Neither hath he gone into captivity. Therefore his taste is remained in him, and his scent is not changed. You see? So he hasn't felt the indignation that the Lord has put on Israel. He hasn't felt going into captivity. He hasn't felt, and that's why people say that all nations went into captivity. No, they didn't. The only people that have been taken into captivity across the four winds are the Israelites. Okay? Verse 12. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, that I will send unto him wanderers that shall cause him to wander, and they shall empty his vessels and break their bottles. Verse 13. And Moab shall be ashamed of Chemosh, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel, their confidence. So the capital city of the Moabites, they're going to be ashamed of it. They're going to be ashamed, just like how Israel was ashamed of their chief city, the city of their confidence. Okay, so the things that Israel went through, the Moabites are going to go through. Okay, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Let's go to verse 15. Moab is spoiled and gone up out of her cities, and his chosen young men are gone down to the slaughter, saith the king, whose name is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Lord of hosts. Okay, and the host means armies. All right, so Moab is spoiled. He is going to be brought down low. He does have a judgment of destruction and captivity waiting for him. But the Lord has just said that it's going to come and overtake him. Verse 16, the calamity of Moab is near to come, and his affliction hasteneth fast. You see? Let's read 17, because that's your part 2. All ye that are about him bemoan him, and all ye that know his name say, how is the strong staff broken, and the beautiful rod? You see? So he's got something coming for him too. Verse 20. Skip down to 20. Moab is confounded, for it is broken down. Howl and cry, and tell ye it in Arnon. that Moab is spoiled. They are spoiled, man. They just haven't received their judgment yet. But the Lord is going to give them their judgment. Okay? Along with the other nations. Verse 24. 24 to 26. Upon Kirioth, and upon Bozrah, and upon all the cities of the land of Moab, far and near. Verse 25. The horn of Moab is cut off, and his arm is broken, saith the Lord. Verse 26, make ye him drunken, for he magnified himself against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Moab also shall wallow in his vomit, and he shall be, and he also shall be in derision. Verse 27, for was not Israel a derision unto thee? Was he found among thieves? For since thou spakest of him, thou skippedest for joy. You see? So Moab had an indignation against Israel from the jump. Okay, from the beginning. So the same way that Israel has been in derision, Moab, the so-called Chinese man, the gooks, as some Akim like to say, they got a judgment coming for them also. All right? Now let's go down to 38. And let's bring this out, because this is a lot of pieces. Some meat right here. There shall be lamentation generally upon all the housetops of Moab, and in the streets thereof. For I have broken Moab like a vessel wherein is no pleasure, saith the Lord. So the Lord don't have no pleasure in the Moabites, man. He don't have no love for them. Okay? They shall howl, verse 39, they shall howl, saying, how is it broken down? How hath Moab turned the back with shame? So shall Moab be a derision and a dismaying to all them about him. Verse 40, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, behold, he shall fly as an eagle, and shall spread his wings over Moab. Verse 41, Kerioth is taken, the strongholds are surprised, and the mighty men's hearts in Moab at that day shall be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. So if you ever seen a woman give birth, she can't do shit. She's going through it. The mighty men of the Moabites are going to be as a woman going through her travailing in pregnancy, giving birth. Verse 42, and Moab shall be destroyed from being a people, because he hath magnified himself against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Verse 43, fear and the pit and the snare shall be upon thee, O inhabitant of Moab, saith the Lord. Verse 44, he that fleeteth from the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that getteth up out of the pit shall be taken into the snare. I will bring it upon it, even upon Moab, the year of their visitation, saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So there's something coming for you, Moab. Okay, it says, he that fleeth from fear shall fall into the pit, and he that getteth up out of the pit shall be taken into the snare. Okay, so you ain't gonna get away. All men of the Moabites are gonna see judgment. They're gonna see, and they're gonna feel the same things that Israel felt. Verse 45, they that fled stood under the shadow of Heshbon because of the force, but a fire shall come forth out of Heshbon, and a flame from the midst of Sihon, and shall devour the corner of Moab, and the crown of the head of the tumultuous ones. Verse 46, woe be unto thee, O Moab. Woe means destruction, death. Woe be unto thee, O Moab, the people of Shamash perisheth. For thy sons are taken captives, and thy daughters captives. The same way Israel had their sons and daughters taken into captivity, the same thing is going to happen to you, Moab. Okay? Verse 47, yet I will bring again the captivity of Moab in the latter days, saith the Lord. Thus far is the judgment of the Moabites of Moab. Thus far is the judgment of Moab. So this thing is going to come to pass. The Lord has spoken it. All right? The Lord is saying the judgment and captivity and destruction and death is coming for these so-called Chinese people, and it's going to come. All right? From there, let's go to Ezekiel 25 and verse 8. Thus saith Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, Yahweh power, because that Moab and Seir do say, behold, the house of Judah is like unto all the heathen. So the Moabites and the Edomites have said, hey, behold, Judah is just like everybody else. Verse 9, therefore, behold, I will open the side of Moab from his cities, which are on his frontiers, the glory of the country, Beth Jeshimoth, Baalmin, and Karatham. Okay, let's go down to verse 11. And I will execute judgments upon Moab, and they shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So these things, the Moabites are going to know the name of the Lord too. After these judgments come out, after these judgments hit them and strike them, let's get the last precept. Let's go to Zephaniah. Salaki. Hold on. I always have problems getting Zephaniah. Let's go to Zephaniah 2 and verse 8. I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revilings of the children of Ammon, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. Verse 9. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, even the breeding of nettles and salt pits and perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them. When you possess something, that means it's yours. The remnant of my people are the elect, the ones who are going to make it out of this third world war, the ones that are going to make it through the destruction, the calamities, the famine, you know, through the sword of Esau. The ones who are not going to take that RFID chip. The ones who are going to make it, Salakia, in these end times. Okay? So let's read that again. Verse 9. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, that Japanese. Even the breeding of nettles and salt pits and a perpetual desolation. We already read what desolation is in the dictionary. The residue of my people shall spoil them, shall lay them to waste, and the remnant of my people shall possess them. We're going to have them in captivity. We're going to have them in straits and chains of chains of iron around their necks and chains, selling them and auctioning them off, how they did the Israelites. Okay? So, with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Aka China. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. Peace and blessings to the hopefully elect, the 144,000 men pushing the truth in diligence and sincerity. And shalom to the next lesson. Shalom.